Hey everyone, we're going to do a quick jig tutorial tonight. Show you how I tie my bucktail jigs. Tonight we're tying on a 3/8 ounce head, the walleye jig head, and we're using a little different bit of a hook. This is actually a saltwater hook. It's an O'Shaughnessy by Eagle Claw, and a lot of people cringe when they hear Eagle Claw, but it's one of the sharpest hooks. This thing's super tacky. And this hook's a little longer, which mitigates the need for a stinger in some instances. So tonight we're tying up one of my favorite colors. I'm a guy who uses lots of browns and whites when I'm fishing. Today we're going to do a white and silver or gray. So we're going to chuck it up on the vise here. Move my vise over and center it a little bit. Just a smoke head. This is a color that I make. I mix a few things in it so it's not just straight black. A little speckle color and glitter that you probably can't see great on the camera. So we're going to start with a nice base of thread, and I'm using a 210 denier from Danville. And two colors we said tonight. We're going to use white and a silverish gray. Sometimes we put flash in these. These ones I'm just doing plain with no flash. But let's talk a little bit about the bucktails first. So here's a bucktail that I've been cutting from. You can see most of my cuts come from this top part. As soon as I get down to here on most bucktails, that's no good to me. You can't really see great here on camera, but maybe you can. See how that's super thick and start to curl? It's, starting to curl and it's crunchy. When you tie down on those with any pressure on your thread, they're going to puff right up on your jig. So I try to stay away from that part of the bucktail as much as I can. I know I'm wasting a lot of bucktail, but I want my jigs to look good. One of the reasons my jigs are a little more pricey than anyone else around, but so we cut some pieces off. We're going to thin them, get these wispy parts out. So to thin it, we grab loose on the bottom, and from the top, thin it out. A few pieces here and there. And we grab loose on the top. We're going to get a bunch out of the bottom. We're going to try to tie our bucktails in about 4 parts. So that's a nice thin amount of actual bucktail that we're using. And we're going to measure it up. I got a little measuring thing here on the back of my vise I use for each size. I just I took a permanent gold marker and just drew on it. And cut them. I use barber shears. And we're going to wrap this in a couple times. 1, 2, move it around to where we think it should be. 3, up toward the head a little. So I got about 10 wraps total in there. Now it's sticking up a little, but that'll go down once I get going. Our second piece, because we're going to try to use about 4 pieces of bucktail to tie this in nicely. We're going to thin it out. Measure up. Cut. I got a waste basket right under my feet here. Couple wraps. That's good. So now you can see that this will be the bottom of the jig, because here's the eye, so it'll be flipped over. Bottom of the jig's tied in. Now we're going to take that silver or grayish color. We're going to thin this out. I got a little bit of a thick clump here, so I might be able to use the excess. We'll see. And this is what we do for every jig here. Take our time. And we measure up. Cut. Again, don't use fly tying scissors. They're kind of worthless for cutting bucktail. A serrated scissor works really good. Now we're going to wrap up a little just to clean that collar up. So you see we've kind of cleaned that collar up, and we keep our collars still nice and small, neat looking. Take any of that leftover I had from my last pile and see what I can get out of it. You see how those hairs are all uneven, so nothing. They wouldn't even tie in, they'd be too short. So I'm taking my next pinch of bucktail. And when I'm tying and trying to get a lot done at once, I have a whole bunch of bucktail already set out and cut. Measuring up. You see I got a few loosies in here, so I'm going to get that, pull them out. I think this was a little long when I measured up. Yeah, it was. About a 1/4 inch. Cut that off. So now we're going on the bottom of the jig. I spread it out a little with my fingers to get it to where it needs to go. Couple wraps. And now when I wrap closer up here, it's going to make that bucktail flare a little. But I'm still using pressure. Up here I'm not using much pressure. Up here by the top of the head, going nice and loose. And we never have issues. I've never heard of issues with our hair falling out. So a couple strong wraps there. Down, down's the key. And then up again. If you're gonna wrap down, wrap up. And now we're gonna use our whip finishing tool. Right there. And if I wasn't leading you guys through this, I could usually tie a jig in about 2-3 minutes. Pull this tight. We're going to do a little thing with the thread. And when you do that, kind of move it around. It bites in a little better to itself and to the bucktail. Then we're going to add over here, I got a little bottle, a little applicator with a brush, some head cement and Sally Hansen's, and mix them together. And what they do is they penetrate the thread and also kind of leave a nice shiny and clear coat over it. So there's one of our favorite bucktails right there. Old silver or gray and white. And we'll put eyes on it later when we're done. Just trying to show you guys how to make bucktails at home if you wanna. Or if not, check us out, Fresh Run Fishing.